personnel. So just, I'm not for or against it, definitely want to refer it, but just want to make sure that that becomes part of the discussion that we have. Thank you.
Councilor Anderson, you're next.
Yes, thank you, Madam President. I'm strongly in support of this paper going forward and that it gets passed. I have concerns about the salary level, which I think we can have more discussion about. I know that what is being asked for is a salary for the remainder of this fiscal year, which will annualize at I think about a $65,000 a year salary. We need to look at what's been going on in the other cities, other surrounding cities that have diversity positions like this, and make sure that we're not underpaying this person. I point out to the council that we need to, if we're to be true to this, we need to make sure that this position has the kind of support from the council that we talk about here on the council. That is to say that we need to be pressing our department heads and our HR director and all the hiring managers to be working with this diversity person to make sure that we're doing more than just reaching out and getting applicants into the pool, but that we're finding the applicants, the diverse applicants that can be hired to change the makeup of our city. I think, let's all be clear. We are underrepresented in the presence of persons of color in our workforce, not only in the school system, but throughout most of the departments of the city, all of the departments of the city, I would say. There are some departments that are doing much better than others, but we all have a long way to go. And given what we've all seen happening, throughout this country with the murdering of black and brown people in this country, and the recognition that I think the world is being able to see that we need to recognize that there is institutional racism everywhere. We've got to work to overcome that. And I think having this diversity person on board is a step in the right direction. This is not the answer to it all, but this is a step in the right direction. And councilors, I implore us all to do what we can to support the efforts of this diversity person once they come on board. So yes, I wholeheartedly support us moving forward with this and to continue to work on it. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you. Councilor Linehan, you're next.
Thank you, Madam President. I also support this and share Councilor Anderson's concerns about the salary. I would like for us to dig into that. I'm also a little concerned that it seems to have dropped from a director level position when it was first proposed to a coordinator level, which is a much lower position that I'm afraid doesn't align with the duties. I also sort of fear that the duties are so laden down with, somewhat administrative tasks, things that could really position this person to start off with a lot on their plate and not be able to move forward with some of the strategic things that we really need to move on fast. So I look forward to having a good discussion on it in committee, but I do want to make sure that we're right-sizing that salary and the job description, particularly for a role that's likely to be very competitive and to be recruiting a person of color to work in our city at a time like this. We need to be competitive against what other cities are advertising it for and realistic to what this person is going to be asked to do. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor O'Malley.
Thank you, Madam President. I think that one of the feedbacks that I've received about this particular role is that it almost looks like it's being set up to fail. It looks like it's 2 or 3 jobs combined into one that really has no chance of success. And I agree with some of the statements that were stated earlier. I think that the time for lip service is over, and the time for actual action is now. It's actually probably 10 years ago. And so the same way we need to make sure that we're attracting more, people of color in our staff and department heads. We can't lose track of the fact that, women are also underrepresented in our department heads. Members of the LGBTQ community are underrepresented. So I think that we should all really take a hard look at ourselves and think that if we are really carrying the weight that we need to carry as individual counselors, or are we just, contributing to the lip service? So I appreciate that we're moving this forward. It's long overdue. Thank you.
Councilor DiMaria.
Thank you, Madam President, and I hate to be redundant, but I did have to chime in a little. The DEI position, at first blush, I was beyond excited to receive the email and to know this is really we're moving forward. There's a mission in the city, and I'm so excited about it. I do have a couple of concerns as to, where this person is housed, how is this person, what are the duties of this person? Is the salary adequate for what we're expecting this person to do and to help our community to embrace what the mission is of this position? I'm very excited that we are finally putting pen to paper and moving forward with a starting point, but I do think there's a lot more dialogue in committee, which we will, I look forward to discussing. And I thank the administration for the work that they've put forth to get this started. So I yield. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you. Councilor Winslow.
Yes, I'm very supportive of this position. I think it's been long needed in Malden. To really diversify. I appreciate the work Councilor Anderson and I've, done as we've interviewed department heads, and some have done more. And I think ultimately, it's about recruiting. It's about making sure people have interviews and then hiring people, diversity. But it's also about retaining and promoting people. So it is a broad thing. I think we can talk more about kind of the level of position. Having spent, I've had multiple jobs in my career, being the new person in a totally new position in a totally new area, and I think that it takes a while for an organization to adapt, and so I think I want to get going on it. And I think a coordinator position might be the way to start out, with the expectation that we would work to promote it over several years. But there is a sort of a time that someone has to come in, get to see the organization, create a presence for the position, and then move it up. So I think we can have more discussion. But I think this is a good start, and it's something that's necessary. Thank you.